This mashup is going to be Google Slides and photos to show you how to create master presentations. So the first thing I need to do is I need to come over to my drive, new, and then go to Google Slides. So I'm going to keep it on simple and light, and I'm going to change from widescreen to be standard, and I'm going to hit OK. The reason that I want to keep it as simple and light is because I'm going to change the background of my slides. So now if I click on New Slide, here are the white background slides that I have. Now I could always come up and I can right click on here and I can change background and I can choose an image from here, or I can choose a different color. So if I choose an image from here, I recently just went to the Tulsa Aquarium with my family, and so I'm going to pull some images from there. So say that I wanted this one right here, which is the beavers. I'm going to click and select OK. I have the option of applying to all or just keeping it this. When I am on this background, if you notice, I would obviously have to change the color scheme of my font so that I would be able to see it, and I can't move the background image. So it's very different than if I just created a new slide and say I had the same image and I dropped it in, which is a lot of what kids do when they're creating slides. They are going to do it like this, and then they're going to add things over it. But what happens is if you add something and you try to move it, could you be moving the background? Or in here, if I added, say, a shape over it and I move this, I cannot move the background. So that's a nice way of adding the background. But if you notice, I can't actually change this image. I can't change the colors. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to spend the remainder part of this video under View and Master. And this is what I want to show you. If you change anything on this master slide right here, it's going to affect every slide that you add to your presentation. So be careful of how you manipulate this. Instead, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to pay attention to layouts. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to do a new layout. When I do this new layout, I have the option, again, just like before, where I could do background. I could put the beaver picture in, which means that I can add that picture into multiple slides in my presentation and not have to worry about adding it every time or adding it to all of them. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an image this way. So remember how a lot of students I did with this, they add images like this and they are able to move it. Well, if I go to here and I add an image, so say I'm going to add these jellyfish right here, and I have this image and it's portrait, so I can easily turn by turning the knob, and then I can adjust on my slide. So here is my image. I have some options that I didn't have when I added it to the background. If I click on the image, I now have image options. When I click on image options, here are some things that I can do. I can change its transparency color. I can change its brightness or its contrast. Or this is the best part. Say that you have an image, but you kind of want to change its coloring. I can now come up here to where it says no recolor. I click on the drop down, and now here are all the colors I can do. So say that I want these red jellyfish, and I'm going to change the transparency of it. Now, if you look, this image is movable when it is here in my master view. I'm going to put it back in its location. I also want this text box to be on the forefront. So I'm going to right click on the image, go to order, and send to back. So now I can easily take this and say that I want to change it to be a different font. We'll say the cherry cream, and because this is red, I'm actually going to make this font color say a bright green. You probably can't read it, but that's what I'm going to do. Now if I exit out of here, I come up to add a new slide, I can now choose, that's one of my custom layout options. When I select it, notice I can no longer move that image. Unlike when they add it straight to the slide, they can move that image. And here you can see my font color is exactly how I chose it to be. So I can easily adjust it when I go to the view and to the master and adjust it this way. Another great feature, instead of putting images, because I know a lot of kids right now are doing research projects, what about having the kids create graphic organizers, or you create the graphic organizer, you put it here, and they have to fill it out, and then they can't actually move the graphic organizer. So if I right click and select a new layout, I'm going to take this away, and instead I'm going to replace it with an image of a graphic organizer. So now I can share this presentation with my students, and they can't move the graphic organizer. Instead, they can come up to the text box and start to fill in the graphic organizer. So they can change and make master presentations based on images that they find that goes with the research project that they're working on or the assignment that they're doing. So here's a website that I want to point out. It's called picsforlearning.com, and it's got copyright friendly photos, which is amazing. You want to make sure that the kids aren't stealing photos from Google Images and just taking whatever they want without searching for proper images that are free to use. But I know like right now there's a lot of kids that are doing projects on countries or space. So if I go to countries and say I'm doing one on Ecuador. So I click on Ecuador, and here are all the images that come up that are free to use on Ecuador, and you can see that there's multiple pages. But say that this is the image that I want to use. If I click on it, it's going to give me some information. It's going to tell me who the photographer is, its location, the date that it was taken. But a nice feature is I can download the image to my computer, or I can save it directly to my Google Drive. So that is perfect for me because I want to save all my images because I don't want to take up space on my desktop. Instead, I want to use the free unlimited space that Google Drive has. So this is how you can create masterful presentations using just simple images that you get and manipulating the master slides. I hope you learned something new.